The work at Selhurst Park has caused a schism in the structure of the seismology of the Earth, and
Right.
all surrounding areas must be evacuated immediately. Stay indoors. I repeat, stay indoors. Plane is radioactive.
Mark, this is beautiful. This is why Mark Steele is Mark Steele. So is it happening now then? The work.
Yeah. I was just well, I hadn't been there for. I was in Edinburgh for about 11 days, and when I came back and popped down to Sainsbury's, there was all manner of stuff going on there. It was it was like Las Vegas when the mafia were moving out there, and they had similar problems. The mafia with hey, we're trying to build a fucking city out here and gambling and shit, and the fucking guys from Wooderson Close won't move. What can you do?
We've got Jean-Philippe Mateta buried in the Nevada desert.
He had 6 weeks left back on his contract. He wanted to go. Fuck you. He's gonna go. He's gone.
If you cross the family, you're out of the family.
Yeah. Well, no, there's all sorts of work on, and then there's a very big square sort of temporary looking but quite flashy sort of office type thing. It's not the sort of porter cabin that that your kids end up doing maths in while the school's dealing with an unexpected flood. It's a big 2-story building that goes the sort of width of the car park, and I guess that's going to be for all the things that are in the main stand while the building's going on. But I'm only guessing there. That's maybe an inaccurate guess, but it's quite an impressive thing that's gone up. And that I don't know. So it looks to me like there's something quite major's happening there, and about half of the Sainsbury's car park is now unusable because it's just it's all sort of like blocked off.
So when we play Manchester City this Friday, I mean, talk about out the frying pan into the fire.
Right.
So how do you think? How will I take it people will still be sat in the main stand as normal for the time being?
Oh yeah. I would imagine all season, and I would think then, but I don't know. God knows whether there's whether it'll be during the match. The construction will be going on.
If we go 2-0 down, quick, start the digging, quick, now.
A wrecking ball came. A wrecking ball came right across from the Holmesdale end and knocked Rodri into the corner flag.
Well, thankfully
that's got to be a penalty. VAR looking at it.
Sorry, ref. Game's over. Sorry. I mean, I was trying to cheer the kids up this morning, and now thankfully Rodri's gone to Barcelona, so that is one thing to.
Oh right,
that is one less thing. He's gone. That is one less thing to worry about.
Oh well, we shouldn't have any trouble against him.
Easy peasy. Well, I mean, now, I'm only half joking there. What I mean by that is, this season, Kamada and Wharton. I mean, these are very much our boys. They're going to be our star boys for the season, aren't they? If this is going to,
I mean, Wharton. Even I know you're sort of grasping for positives and all that sort of thing, but that ball that Wharton put through for Nketiah, did quite well, I thought, but Pickford made a fantastic save, and that was brilliant, wasn't it? That was what you want from Wharton.
I mean, look, I've really got to get over this, but the fact that Tuchel took a look at that player and went, nah, we don't need that, because that ball. If there's any golfers listening, it was like a delicious pitched 9-9 over the top, wasn't it? It was magical. Now, when I first saw it,
just sort of lands exactly right, and he knows where it's exactly. He's just done it exactly right on the edge of the green, and and then unfortunately, Pickford had the pin in his hand and sort of managed to clip it onto the post. But Yeah.
When I first saw it, I was very much, oh, Eddie, you've got to put that away. But having watched it maybe 10 times, Eddie doesn't really do much wrong because the touch is phenomenal. He actually puts a nice finish on it.
It's just fantastic. Just
a great save, isn't it? Unfortunately.
Yeah. JP on the other end.
Well, I mean,
I think one of those was unlucky when he hit the post. But the other
Mark, the contact he gets on that is unacceptably shit. I mean, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, if you or I had missed that at Comedians Football on a Tuesday at goals in Beckenham, mate, would have been head in hands for the next 5 minutes. I mean, look, we have to address the Mateta in the room. I don't understand. Given he's taken it, I'm sure you're on top of this, listener. He claims that this year extension that's currently happening right now should be voided, basically. So he's taken it to the FA or the Premier League.
Well, what is the situation, James? Because we've been through this once before with him.
Yes.
With all the sort of springtime kerfuffle, and it looked awful, and he was claiming that it was a violation of his human rights, basically, not to be allowed to go to Milan and miss goals for them. And then I think it is not fair that I should stare and miss your goals when I should be missing goals for a much more important team.
Should be missing goals for the Italian giants. Well, this is, I mean,
je suis Jean-Philippe Mateta. Je dois manquer le but. I must miss the goal in French, but
this is pure steel. Now, speaking of Milan, I wish Mateta
probably say Ratte, to be fair. Sorry, yes.
I wish Mateta was as good as Mateta's agent thinks that he is. Because speaking of Milan, Mateta's agent clearly thinks that Mateta is the new Jean-Pierre Papin, Marco van Basten, whereas you and I know Mateta, and I say this with love in my heart, Mateta is the new Lee Chapman. Now, Lee Chapman was a big guy, great at holding the ball up, won the championship with Leeds United. He was a fine footballer, and I don't mean that, so there's no shade when I say that. But Mateta is essentially a 2026 Lee Chapman. I mean, I'm on a Palace WhatsApp group. One of the lads, Steve, makes the point, whenever Mateta goes through one-on-one, the referee may as well stop the match and just take the goal kick. Just save us all a minute of our lives.
But now that's not always been like that, has it? You remember sort of the last sort of 10, 12 games of the season when Glasner first got here. Then it wasn't like that. Do you remember when he broke through at the start of the Manchester City game, about 10 minutes into the game, when City were brilliant, and we went 1-0 up? Grealish tore us apart in the second half, and we lost 4-1 in the end. 4-2, I think, because when Elise came on and towards the end and made a difference, huge difference. But at that point, I remember sort of thinking, oh my God, Mateta's clean through. He's going to score. And for a while it was like that. And where did that go? That fantastic goal he scored against Arsenal when he saw the keeper off the line and chipped him and stuff. But that period was how, and of course in the cup final it was Lowe says he got the goal. He was critical to that, wasn't he? And the holding the ball up in the middle the first time we broke. I don't know. There is a sort of element of cult hero about him, a bit like Balassi was, who we loved, and he was so beautifully Palace. He would score, but then sometimes he'd go 8 games without scoring, dribble past 4 players, then trip over and knock the ball off for a goal kick and turn around and laugh, and everyone loved him.
Yeah, that's right. You're right there. I mean, the thing with Mateta, and I'm upset by what's happened. But if you look at the way that, say, Gay left the club, Eze left the club, Lacroix left the club, pure class. I still dab an eye most mornings. Elise, the way he left the club as well. So there are ways and means of going about this. What I don't understand how on earth can we still be picking Mateta, given he's he's taken it to FIFA. FIFA have basically said it's out of our remit. I don't understand, given that he's behaving like this, all right, and his agent, of course. How if I was Jurgen Strand Larsen, I'd be going, pick me. I'm not kicking off.
But what do we know about the actual situation with him then? Do we know that this is definitely all true? This isn't just something that's been made up by journalists and people on Twitter.
So I was from 02 to 05, I was the Crystal Palace correspondent for the Croydon Advertiser, right? Never missed a match, home and away, training ground multiple times a week, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I can, wax lyrical about that. Now, the reason why I'm saying that is because the person who's written this for the BBC is Sami Mokbel. And Sami, who I knew, he was sort of an emerging journalist back then. So I knew Sami a bit, and then I ended up at the London paper, and I'd still do stuff on Palace, and I'd see Sami quite a bit. Sami's fantastic. Sami's now at the BBC. And I think, given it's Sami that's written this,
right.
Whenever Sami writes something, okay, I always go, this will be spot on. I think Sami's a brilliant journalist and really knows Crystal Palace. The fact that the BBC also ran it was their second lead story early this morning.
Yeah.
Website. So again, I'm like, I think he's probably nailed it with this. So
as a plea to the sort of what is it he's appealed to? What's the body he's appealed to? Is it to the?
So right, here we go. So multiple sources have this Sami. I'm credit to Sami here. Multiple sources have told BBC Sport the France international has launched an official challenge over the validity of the final 10 months on his Sellers Park deal, which expires in June 2027. So we activated the option of a 12-month extension in 2024, meaning that Mateta's current deal is due to expire at the end of the season, i.e. this current season. But he's claiming that this optional extra year should be void. Here we go. This is it, Mark. And it is understood Mateta's case was heard by an independent tribunal under the Premier League's rules. And then he's also taken it to FIFA. FIFA have gone, this isn't our remit. But I mean,
once you're appealing to FIFA, like it's like some sort of landmark ruling, isn't it? When someone's house has been knocked down or something accidentally, and they end up sort of going to Strasbourg or to the European Court of Human Rights, and there'll be various legal bodies in, I don't know, Vienna or wherever these things are, Frankfurt. And what do we have next? We have the people that try to flee from Gaza. And they were not permitted entry, and we think that we must deal with that. But first, there's a matter of Jean-Philippe Mateta, who thinks that his contract is not validated, and he must be free to leave so that he can hit the post when there is no one in the goal.
From, how you say, 6 yards out. I mean, look, the thing is, obviously, I'm being harsh on Jean-Philippe Mateta, and you're right, he is a cult hero. But if he'd orchestrated it, or if he was exiting in the way that, say, an Eze had left, if he'd done it in a classy way, because there are classy ways of doing this, he would forever be a cult hero. But this, at the moment, I mean, to put it diplomatically, this is really messy. Also, he's one of our big names. We really need, we need Jean-Philippe Mateta with his head in the game, not with all this going on.
Yeah. So I think there's two things, isn't it? There's him as the player, and because he's capable of missing sitters without having all these distractions. I mean, I don't know what the other distractions have been when he's been. I mean, but he, then he has scored lots of goals for it. It's amazing, isn't it? The amount of chances I know any club could say that. Oh, if only we scored that one against Wolves. If only we'd scored that one against Bolton. Every club has that, but we had lots and lots of chances that you would really, really expect even vaguely on form, middle of the road striker to get that. And if that could definitely have given us another 10, 12 points last year. That's not being at all outlandish to suggest that. And we've started exactly there. I saw David Moyes in the interview he was quite sort of candid about it, really, that they missed a couple of chances that you sort of would have expected one of those to go in, and then we'd have been we'd have been in a bit of trouble.
We really look. I'm well aware, to any non-Palace fans who might be listening, I'm well aware that every club can say that, but genuinely, really, we simply had to have been 3-0 up yesterday. When Everton scored their first goal, we should have been home and hosed by then. I mean, I actually thought, I've got to say, full credit to Eddie Nketiah. He played in that old Eze position. It's like that left-sided cam roll, if you like. I really, I know I'm Johnny Positive. I actually thought Eddie looked really good. And one of the chances, there's one where he squares it to Mateta, and he's got to score.
That's the one that he missed altogether, didn't it? Not the one he hit the post.
Do you not think, now that all this is out in the open, and we now know, we seem to know more about what's going on and the trials and tribulations with Mateta? It sounds like this was going on during last season with this, him trying to take some sort of action about the contract. Surely he cannot start on Friday against City.
Well, I don't know. I mean, the thing is, when he came on again towards the end of that, the sort of Glasner toys out of the pram kerfuffle, and then he came on and he was sort of pretty well welcomed, and then he was quite good again, wasn't he? Including scoring the winning goal in Leipzig. And
this is it.
There didn't seem to be any problem with his attitude after that.
Because
so
he got booed when it was that sort of dramatic, as you say, the toys out of the Prem era. He was getting booed by sections of supporters because of what was going on off the pitch. But then, how quickly people forget when he's knocking the goals in. As you say, it looks like there's a bit of form there. Then all was forgiven. Whereas, he's not daft. He knows that if he starts on Friday, he's gonna get some proper flack.
Possibly. It depends how he plays, doesn't it? I mean, what was it? At what point was the Bournemouth game where he got a hat trick and then missed a sitter?
Oh my gosh!
The easiest. That was the worst. And it was, even though he got a hat trick, it was like, oh, well done. You've not, I'll tell you what. Give him his credit where he's due. He doesn't forget his roots. Just because you've scored 3 doesn't mean you're going to miss one from an open goal from 8 inches out.
It was the most Mateta thing ever, wasn't it? Scoring a hat trick, and then the as you say, the easiest one of the lot. Oh my gosh! Now, Mark, how do you see this one playing out?
Well, I think it's unlikely now that he's going to be with us for the season, but I don't know. The most ridiculous things happened, didn't it? An Arsenal player refused to be substituted and threw the shirt at the manager and so on. And then 6 months later was playing for the team and was, and everyone was cheering him again. I don't know. Now Mateta's not quite in the same class. So it's possible that, is it possible that this is all a negotiation to sort of get a contract improved or something, or that's too extreme for that, isn't it?
The thing is, if you and I, we've heard the same sorts of rumors. If the rumors are true, the amount of money that he's asking for, that you hear on the grapevine, that we just cannot. If he was banging in,
what sort of figures are being suggested then? Like Wilf type figures?
Or I think
more than Wilf got.
I believe so.
More than Wilf, who's single-handedly kept us in the Premier League some years.
Yeah, Wilf, who has a mural on the side of a house because he was essentially carrying the club for like, let's say 6 or 7 years. I believe it's more than that. And at the end of the day, we cannot.
Well, he's not going to get that elsewhere, is he? Surely not. Knee injury or no injury, who's going to give him that? I mean, unless there's something we're not seeing, there's something that there's some little technical reason or psychological reason that another manager thinks, well, I can put that right, and then he will be scoring 80% of the ones that he misses, plus all the ones he does get, in which case he'll be, 80% of the ones he misses would mean he was getting about 300 goals a season.
I just heard that Haaland has retired.
Yeah, that in 5 years the argument would be Messi, Ronaldo, or Mateta. Who for you is the greatest?
The big three, the Mount Rushmore.
I mean, we love him, but what can you do?
We'll always love him. I mean, that purple patch, as you allude to, he did that when he had that incredible run. He was irresistible, and it is a shame when it ends in a sour way, because unfortunately it does sully the status, doesn't it?
It does a bit, and it does a bit, and I suppose it has done in the past. I mean, even Ian Wright, some fans hold him in sort of like have a certain amount of disdain. I mean, I don't hold with that in the slightest, but there's a sort of there's a certain sort of, I don't know, there's a bit of distrust, isn't there, when someone goes off and then isn't always complimentary about the club. So I don't know. I think if he went, I think probably it's best if he goes now, isn't it? And I don't think he'll be booed, because we're not a booing club. But
I respectfully think he will be on Friday.
Really? Okay.
I do. Not by everyone by any stretch, but I think there'll be enough for you to, it would be noticeable, because of what's happened this past 24 hours at the time of recording.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we want players who want to play for the club, and I think what will happen is that this is because I love Jurgen Strand-Larsen. We've got to get behind that guy, because if that's going to be our guy up front, then he needs all the love and support and chance and you name it.
What do you think it's doing to the rest of the club? I mean, it can't be. I think I mentioned this already, but
totally
there's certainly, generally in sport, you sometimes wonder why certain players aren't being picked. I was, the classic one being Kevin Peterson in the England cricket team, and Kevin Peterson's clearly one of the greatest batsers ever played for England, and yet in the county teams, in international teams, he was always distrusted. And because however brilliant someone is, if they're ruining the atmosphere and they're making everybody feel shit, it's like any job, isn't it? And you go, we're better off without them. And I don't know if that's the case. Whether there's a sort of resentment, you don't know. I'd love to know. What does Dean Henderson think? What does Canvo think? What do they?
So I think Jean-Philippe Mateta is a very popular figure in the dressing room. I think he's a big character.
Right.
I mean, that celebration in Leipzig where they're all copying the move. I mean,
that's fantastic.
That image is lovingly seared on the retina forever. And and even Strand-Larsen are clearly panicked, because even when they're all doing it, even Strand-Larsen's doing the impression. That is such a beautiful moment in the history of the club, and we will all be so grateful to him forever for that amazing moment, that win, that goal, and so on. But I think it's more in the eyes of the fans rather than the eyes of the players, because you want players that want to wear the shirt, don't you? Not players that are taking it to tribunals and taking it to FIFA and so on. If you don't want to be here, I'm always of the opinion off your pop.
Yeah. No, well, I think you're probably speaking for most of the fans, and I think even at a club like Palace, even though we're a club where players are given so much more rope, if you like, aren't they? I always think like Benteke would have been out of any other club, because it would have just become untenable every time he came on. There'd have been all sorts of disquiet, and there never was. And mostly people went, "Oh God, he's a nice bloke. I'm sure he'll be all right one day."
True. That is so true.
And hence he stayed much longer than he would have done. And I think that's a good thing, and that helps sort of attract players to our club and so on. But I would think, if it was any other Premier League club, I think Mateta would be, I think he would struggle to get through the first 5 minutes of the next match.
If we were his PRs, if you and I, Mark Steele, James Gill, were Jean-Philippe Mateta's official public relations company, we would put an arm around his shoulder and go, mate, this is not a great look.
Yeah.
There's got to be a better way of going about this.
He would come out tomorrow and go, I'd like to make a statement that I would add 2 cups of lemsip and it adversely affected my judgment. And I am allergic to the fizzy lemon and it has set me into a strange place that I do not wish to revisit. And I hope that I can make up for it by scoring 7-8 goals against Manchester City and maybe only missing 1 or 2.
I am, how you say, grateful all over, por favor.
Talking of that, right? So this may not be, if we're looking for positives, right? I wrote down a part of Pierre's interview for Match of the Day, right? This is word for word what he said. And as a result of this, I'm really, really loving him. This is word for word. With substitution, I wanted more because I think we can play with more dynamic and it doesn't happen. And it's a real problem because when you lose, you have to change a thing. Maybe can have crazy play if you want change to these things. And we didn't do that. A little bit give up.
Mate, he is my favorite French person since Rene from Hello Hello.
I mean, that's brilliant, isn't it? And you'll say crazy play, but we little bit give
up. Superb. I mean, Mark, first half, and again, I'm reaching for the positives. I thought we were knocking it. Around.
Yeah.
Wow, there was some really, Sarr ball, as it's called. There was some really encouraging stuff. Look, we love Munoz, as you heard on the previous episode. Absolute Munoz fan club here. He looked, frankly, knackered.
Mm.
So maybe it's. Yeah. Sorry, go on.
Yeah. Well, that's a huge problem with a club that it's a problem of success. So you've got lots of players who were in the World Cup, they've no break at all, and the club is dependent on them. If you obviously you could say Liverpool, Manchester City, or whatever have loads of players in the World Cup, but they can ride that a bit because they've got enough players to fill in from. They can, I don't know, all manner of things. And it's very, very difficult for us. I think that one of the most alarming things at the moment is that I don't think many of us were that surprised at the result. I think, we played well, we missed a couple of chances and we got beaten. And then there's all the other stuff, including the terrible luck of Riyad's injury. And it's just, I think it does make, I don't know, if you want to, I don't want to, I'd never bet on us to be relegated, but I think us Spurs and Man United to go down would be quite a treble.
I would say that I got as many WhatsApps yesterday from other Palace fans, basically like, I won't use the word, but I won't use the word, but you can guess. I've got as many messages from Palace fans yesterday as I did when I was at Wembley for the FA Cup final. Put it that way.
Right.
It was like the opposite of that, So I'm not. If I'm honest with you, I saw enough yesterday. I'm not of that persuasion.
Yeah.
Because I did see some really good stuff. Now you've brought it up there. We must mention poor Chaddy. I mean Chaddy Riyad's injury, heartbreaking. We all saw. I mean, Mark, you and I were there in Leipzig. We saw him crying his eyes out in Leipzig because he'd been out for over a year. He obviously never thought that he would see the day where he's going to win a major trophy. And it was a beautiful, happy tears, but tears of someone who'd been through a lot. Good Lord, I could cry for him now,
Yeah.
And then to come through that, he comes in for Chris Richards. Iconic, absolutely iconic what Chaddy Riyad did in Leipzig. We will love him forevermore. And so, I mean, what happened yesterday, and it obviously looks like a bad one. It's heartbreaking for the lad, given what he's been through. So obviously we wish him the speed. I mean, God bless him. We wish him the speediest of recoveries. But I mean, I'm not a doctor, but that's a good few months out, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I think that might be the best we can hope for. It was sort of, Pierre was saying that he said, I hope it's not as bad as we think.
Yeah.
So that's not good. That suggests that they think it's very, very bad. And at the moment, you probably would just hope that if he plays again this season, is that possible?
I mean, so young. I'll say that he's.
Mm.
And also, if I'm being super positive, when you have extended periods out, it can sometimes prolong the career, right? So one example is, remember Michael Hughes played for Palace, part of the promotion team, one of the players of the season. He had that bizarre contract wrangle, and it meant that he wasn't. We snapped him up. He'd not played for a full year. I don't remember this. Some sort of contract snafu. And Michael Hughes always felt that time out, all right, I know it's not the same as battling a serious injury, but he always felt that full year out prolonged his career. It meant he could play longer because his body had rested.
Right. I didn't know that. He was brilliant that year. Derry, him and Aki in the middle. They were brilliant, weren't they, getting us up? And then with AJ up front and
Michael
Gray
Hughes.
at Routledge and stuff, the wings and stuff. It was a great team, wasn't it?
It was a great
team. This is the thing, right? And this is a bit of a diversion. I think that season, although we went down in the last match, I thought that was a fantastically exciting season.
It was brilliant. I mean, I'm sure you were there. Charlton away, 2005. We were so free. I know I've alluded to being pals with Dougie, but anyway, I remember asking Dougie after the game. I went, as soon as the ball hit your foot, you knew you'd scored, didn't you? And he just went, "Oh, because Friedman had magic in those boots, didn't he?" And yeah, we were so close, weren't we? We
were so close, but it was so exciting. It was such an atmosphere and such a sort of positive sense and stuff. I don't think I've ever seen Sellers Park go as mad. I don't know, other people will have
when Ventola scored.
When Ventola scored, the subplot of it that he hadn't played all season and he come on and loads of people going, when he comes back, and it was the last but one game, the last home game of the season, and he came on and then broke through and just the goalkeeper had beat, and it was 1-1. And if we won that match, we would probably stay up. And it just stopped. The world stopped. If it was a film, you'd have stopped it for a minute while you waited for that scene.
Yes.
And then he's plonked it in the bottom and the place went mad. And there was some bloke from 4 seats behind me who landed on top of me. And it was a fantastic moment. Ruined it,
shivers. You're describing that. Look at that. Hairs on my arm. I'm transported back to May 2005,
Ruined right at the end when Higginbottom, wasn't it, equalised for him. And I thought, well, you've took us both down now, haven't you, by doing that, you silly bloody Southampton tossbots. You're like the bloody scorpion and the frog. You've done for both of us.
It was the score. It was the score. Come on, lads. One of us could have made it. Come on. Yeah, so I wonder. I mean, look, I know we've got a few days until City. So do you put Munoz in some sort of like oxygen tent until then? Otherwise, you've got Mingueza. Also, it's Mingueza. Did you see the video of that? It's a wonderful video. Palace players saying how you pronounce their name.
Oh right.
It's brilliant. So it's it's the Mingueza. And each I mean, all is forgiven for the next 5 seconds. Jean-Philippe Mateta, so beautiful. and then Will Hughes.
How did he do it?
No, that's what I mean. He just went.
Oh right. I see it. Yeah.
Will Hughes.
Yeah. I don't think. I wonder when Will Hughes will have played under Hodgson, wouldn't he? I wonder if they had any conversations about speaking languages. Hodgson. Well, I speak 5, Swedish a bit. What about you, Will? Will Hughes.
Yeah, I don't know if you knew this. Will Hughes went to private school.
Oh, yeah, he did, didn't he?
He did, yeah. He's, hang on, this is a bit of a leap. A mate of mine lives north of North London. I think Will Hughes still lives around that way. But apparently everyone who lives in that neck of the woods, everyone says the same thing. Apparently he's a really lovely... I mean, I've met him a couple of times. I can vouch for it. Apparently he's a lovely, lovely bloke.
Brilliant. Well, there we are. We're taking this is you know what, James, this is what managers should do when they're going, we're going to take positives. I know it was a bad defeat today, but we want to take some positives. One of them, Will Hughes, is a lovely bloke. He's a lovely fella. I know someone who lives near him, and he had a bit of trouble with his fence, and he was straight round there. He said, "Oh, I'll help out," and he helped put it back up quite late at night as well. So there's lots of things lots of things to take positive from the game going forward to the away fixture against Leeds.
Also, I'm well aware what I've just, because Mark and I, we're from working class backgrounds originally, and I'm well aware that what I've just done is, you're not going to believe this, but he went to a posh school and he's actually all right. So I'd like,
quite right. Yeah, quite right. But
now I've got our running order here, right? So with Mateta, tick, Chaddy, tick. Oh, so we really need a centre back now, don't we? I mean, really need a centre back.
Well, yeah. Well, we've not replaced Lacroix. Replacing him. I mean, when Glasner first began the system of 3 centre backs, then bit by bit we've lost them and we've been able to replace them. But it's very, very, very difficult to lose like Gay and Lacroix, 2 of the best people at that, and Richards has moments, doesn't he, where he sort of falls apart. And, I think he did for America. I don't know why. I thought his best game was in the cup final, but it wasn't just that. He's been fantastic as part of that 3. It's very, very difficult to keep playing a system where people have to be so drilled, and then to go, right, we're going to shove someone else in there. I know Lerma did it for a bit.
Lerma, as you know,
in the cup final as well.
Lerma's he's one of my all-time favourite Palace players, and what he did in the cup final, I know we talked about it in the pilot. I will weep on command for that performance when he comes on and starts spraying it about like a young Glenn Hoddle. But there were times last season, and Jefferson, I love you, and but there were times last season where he did actually look like a central midfielder helping out in central defence.
Yeah.
And obviously, you can get away with it for a bit, but over a sustained period, you need a really top quality out and out centre back.
Well, the signings that have been made are hopeful, and they're players that you would hope would be all right, and they might be all right in time. And it's so difficult. It's the great difficulty of being a sort of middle ranking club in the Premier League, is you've got to bring these people in for the future. But it's not like any other job or even any other sport in a way, because you can't be relegated.
You cannot. This is it.
So you can't just. I know I've got my mate Nick Hancock was good mates with Tony Pulis, and Nick's a huge Stoke fan, and he said, I was talking to Tony Pulis once when he was manager of Stoke about why you don't bring some of the lads. He's lost in some of the terrific kids from their academy and stuff. And he said, Tony Pulis said, I can't do that in the Premier League. You could do that in the Championship. You just can't. I mean, I know occasionally you get like Wan-Bissaka come through, which was only because Ward was injured, I believe, wasn't it? Hodgson was forced to buy. I know Hodgson was especially conservative about that. But it's very, very difficult. And it's not necessarily going to help the young player to go, right, we're going to put you in a crucial game. And expect you to be able to do it. So it used to happen in the Championship. I remember being at Sean Scannell's first game and thinking, wow, this kid's brilliant. But that was in the Championship. He was 16, I think. He was terrific.
He was sensational, wasn't he?
But he was never a Premiership player. That's a very, very different proposition. And so it's really difficult this now, because we do need 3 or 4 at least players that weren't there last year to be at Premier League standard quickly, or we could get in trouble.
So the back 3 Friday night will be Tomiyasu, Richards, JD Cambo. That's it, isn't it? With Lerma very much ready to whip off the tracksuit top if required. But I would say that between now and Friday, I imagine, even as we're having this conversation, I would have thought they'll be pulling up trees to get in a centre back.
Yeah, Yeah, definitely. And
Right. So we've
but
done.
but Walton and Kamada there. But I think you're right. I think as well when you're what I remember the years when we came up for one. There's those 3 times that we came up and went straight back down. I remember thinking that there is such a gap between where we were at the time and even the lower sort of Premier League clubs at the time. There was such a gap between us and teams that knew how to scrape through a win in the Premier League. And I think we will be like that. I think that the teams that really struggle at the bottom will not have the tenacity. I would hope that I know it's possible that teams go down and that they collapse and so on, but I suspect with Wharton and Kamada and players like that will be enough. And even Nketiah not playing very well is still better than whoever's going to be at the bottom of the Premier League. So I don't personally think there's a very big chance we'll go down.
You said it the other day. There is enough quality through the squad. There's Henderson. I know I think Henderson is to you what Wharton is to me. He's one of your absolute favourites.
Yeah.
So you got
well,
Henderson.
Again, yesterday, fantastic save.
Oh my god! I mean, in the end, it could have been worse. He pulls off a couple of absolute belters. You got Henderson, Mitchell, Munoz, Richards. I love Cambo. Kamada, Wharton, absolutely top class. Now this takes us on to maybe the final point because we've done classic Mark and James. We must keep it to 30, and we've sailed over it. But it does take us to, I mean, I would say top 5 greatest Palace players ever. Ismaili Sarr. I mean, is he injured? Is he engineering a move? I mean, it's all going to come out. I mean, the best case scenario is he didn't play. This is what Mrs. Gill called it, and then it emerges through the day that he's actually injured. That's why he's not playing rather than going on strike. So we have to hope that he's just genuinely injured and he'll be back.
It's like trying to follow the political situation, isn't it?
It's
sort of a briefing. Some sources are saying that MPs have been briefing against the Home Secretary, and some people saying that Yvette Cooper actually wants to move to the German Parliament.
It's now in the show notes. I must give credit to this person, but someone on social media it was a Palace fan, I think. But they said, if you look at Brentford, there's never any drama. They're just quite a quiet club. They might make a signing, they might lose a player, but there's never drama. And they said, us at Palace, we're like the Kardashians.
Well, also, I would say there's never any drama at Brentford, except for your star player being done for a betting scandal.
Well, I mean, yeah, fair enough. That was Kardashian adjacent, certainly. I mean, Mark, what do you think with the Sarr thing? I'm gonna because I'm naive and maybe too positive. I'm gonna say that he is genuinely injured, and hopefully this Galatasaray thing goes away and we keep hold of him because that is a guy you can't lose.
Yeah. And I hope that is just some sort of negotiating ploy again. Who knows? Who knows? I mean, have I said this story on here before? I don't know. I don't think I'm betraying any confidences. The sort of power that players think that they've got. Have I told this story about
No.
about Gibbs White?
No.
At Notts Forest.
No.
So, all right. I think we're pretty safe on this.
If not, we'll nip it out. How's that?
Yeah. No, I think we're fine with it. There was never there was no sort of don't tell this to anyone sort of thing. So I, for a strange reason, ended up having a very pleasant afternoon drinking with Sean Dyche a few months ago.
Already amazing.
Yeah. And he was good company. He's a very funny man. And I don't know, I really got on with him. And he said that when he was at Forest, when they'd lost 2 matches in a row, which tended to happen, he said when they lost 2 matches in a row, on the Monday morning at the training ground, he got them all in groups of 4, and he said, right, to start off with, I want you to have 5-10 minutes chat, all have a little bit of a chat, and then at the end, I'm going to come back, one person from each group, just tell us what sort of things you think has gone wrong. And he said, Gibbs White went to him first of all because he was the captain. And he said, Gibbs White said, well, what I think's gone wrong is that we used to have our hair done on a Friday and you've changed it to a Thursday.
Oh my God. People say that modern players don't have the common touch. So what did Dyche, once he'd said the game's gone, what did Dyche say to that?
I don't think he was happy. But, he went, that was all part of then there was a complaint about, Dyche had said, I don't want you having saunas on a Friday because you're dehydrated or whatever. I mean, I don't know if that's true. I really don't know very much about the impact of saunas on your ability to play football the next day. But if the boss says it, that's all right. But anyway, they got very cross about that as well, apparently.
So Dyche said, I don't think saunas, and also, what do I know about saunas? But surely, given all the moisture from your body is taken out, it might make you a bit lethargic for match day.
You'd said maybe don't have a sauna. So, wouldn't and you? I wouldn't have a sauna before a show.
No. I won't have a sauna before doing a tight 5, let alone 90 minutes in the Premier League. What? And they didn't like that either?
No, they're very cross. Yeah.
I mean, look, this is very petty. This is petty. This is very petty. But Glasner, I can't believe I'm saying this, actually, but Glasner losing his first match, I'd be lying if I said it didn't give me a little crumb of comfort when I checked the results last night.
Yeah, it gave me a tiny crumb of comfort that might be best expressed as well. Sat on a train coming from Cornwall after a few days' holiday, I expressed that tiny crumb of comfort as, well, thank fuck for that. At least you fucking lost.
Now, if anyone's saying that's petty, you might be thinking that's petty. You've got to appreciate this. Is like we were drowning. We just needed something, anything to cheer us up. And
Well, the sad thing is, we all like Forest, don't we? I mean, as a
club
we
said we love stuff,
them. And I've got mates who are Forest fans, and of course, a lovely club. I've been up there, to watch Palace and stuff, and obviously Clough and all the history of it. But it's Marinakis. It's not the club. It's that, and it's awful. It's Trump in the Premier League, and it's. That's who it is, isn't it? It's the same sort of like completely illogical, narcissistic fucking hubris. And if Trump was the manager, if there was the chair of a football club, you would want them to lose. And it's the same with him, particularly when Glasner's gone there.
It is. If Marinakis said, roast beef Monster Munch are now banned, fans aren't allowed to eat them, they're so enthralled to him. There'd be something like, yeah, finally, someone said it. I know we said it last episode, but it is weird, isn't it? I mean, the way they've all just been, as we said, they've all drunk the Kool-Aid.
Do you think that, I've forgotten who they're playing. Who are they playing? Leeds. Yeah. Do you think Leeds fans, they should have been singing "Sacked in the Morning, You'll Be Sacked in the Morning" at him?
Did you see the Hull United match? They announced it on the tannoy that a couple of trains had been cancelled, and then the whole what are the whole basically, that's it. You're going home in a taxi to the Man United. It was there was a photograph as the United fans have just heard it on the tannoy, so they're all like, "Oh no!" And then these Hull fans are clearly singing, "Home in a Taxi."
Serious point to this. If you did have 50 pence on Palace going down, that was a terrible start. Ipswich winning, Hull winning.
It was. I mean, Mark and I were WhatsApping each other somehow even more than normal, given what happened yesterday. But Mark, I've got to say, in all my years, I cannot think of a more preposterous start to a season.
Oh, and given that we once lost 3-0 to Huddersfield on the opening day with a new manager who then subsequently was sacked after 4 games, we've not always been the best starters. We did lose 9. No, we lost 6-1 on the opening day, didn't we, to Liverpool once?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, we're slow starters, aren't we? I think maybe that's it, James. We're just slow. We're the sort of club that gets up in the morning. We're not sort of spring out of bed like bloody Bear Grylls up running over the hills, doing 10 miles before a fucking orange juice. It's
cold plunge. We're more like, I'll speak to you when I've had 3 coffees.
Yeah. Not yet, love. Oh, yeah, that's us. That was us yesterday in the opening game. I don't know what I done last night. That and the tequila.
Look, honestly, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I'll be good. I promise. Just bear with me, please. So I think Mark. I think I said to you, is there anything I've missed? The Sarr rumours. And look, we're gonna believe that Sarr. We're gonna keep Sarr, and he'll play against City. Sarr rumours. Mateta legal action. Poor Chaddy. New manager, obviously. The choppy pre-season, and then losing at Everton. I think that's pretty. I think that's more or less. Oh, and then Mark reminded me.
It's just one bundle of joy after another.
But now we have to. We'll be positive. Gozo. I mean, as you know, Mark, I'm not one to get carried away, but I watched that montage of his goals, and he's definitely the best player who's ever lived in the history of the universe. But Gozo scored for the 21s yesterday, and as he scored, I did think, is there a world where he can get into a helicopter and lands on the pitch at the Hill Dickinson Stadium? Lads, I'm going to start. It's all right. So this Gozo does look a player, so he might figure in some capacity on Friday.
Yeah, I would think that by November, most of the players that have come here will be featuring, I would think. And that was a problem last year, wasn't it? Was that the new players, most of them, the ones that came from within the club did well, Canvo, but the ones that came from outside of the club, Devaney, Souza, and then Strand Larsen, and the poor lad whose name we shouldn't mention.
Sure, yeah.
Who's now departed. They didn't do so well. That's very often been the case with us, isn't it?
Mark has a theory. I hope you don't mind me saying this. That generally speaking, but now Mark isn't being wise after the event. He said this for ages. For whatever reason, when we spend big, generally speaking, you might be shouting the exception that maybe proves the rule. Unfortunately, it doesn't always go great, does it?
No, if you think of if you was to compile a list of the top 20 most influential players in the history of the club for us, they're nearly all. I mean, they're very top players. Wright, Wilf. They're players that, they came. Well, Wright come from down the road from the lower leagues. Wilf was round the corner. Ezzy from QPR, Elise from Reading. There's very, very rare that they've come from that they've been big name signings. And when we have made those big signings, Ben Tech is probably the most successful because he was successful for 1 year and then not so successful. And it's not really worked, is it? Speroni was Dundee, wasn't he? And that's generally the case. But that's one of the reasons why it's difficult now. And I think also we're probably every week missing Dougie, aren't we? Who knows who he'd have unearthed and brought here.
Listen, I want you to know I'm still in touch with the great man, and we still message each other. And I mean, that's if we could make one fantasy signing, it probably would be bringing Dougie Freeman back.
Yeah. So, is there anything else we need to that we ought to address? Because it'd be awful if there's something we haven't addressed. I mean, the fans will be bereft.
Yeah. Now, once again, please do rate, review, subscribe, and all that. We're very grateful for those of you that have. So I must say, here we go. I send these to Mark, and we're quite exciting. So this is where we've been peaking recently. So in the United States, number 222. I think it's not too shabby. Australia, 72. The United Kingdom, 48. This is in the football podcast charts. This is amazing. New Zealand, number 24, and then the United Arab Emirates, number 19. This is
number 19.
Yeah. This is great stuff. So what I'm saying is,
does this suggest we should be and we are doing a live version of this podcast in Abu Dhabi, so please come along.
Well, if
drinks won't be available afterwards, I'm afraid, but
but no, look, we're super grateful to everyone that's got on board and shared the videos and all that. Guy, if you can imagine me at the age of 48 trying to get to grips with editing video clips. Geez. Oh my God. But no, listen, as you can probably tell, Mark and I, we love it. I hope the enthusiasm comes through. So I'll tell you what, Mark. Now, we did a prediction before the Everton match, so you were correct. Everton won, so I'll give you a point for that. I think if you get the exact score, it would have been 3 points. So you're 1-0 up. So we'll go for it. Man City, prediction, please.
They'll do us 3-1.
I'm going 2-0 Palace.
Hey.
I'm going 2-0 Palace. I'm expecting an Adam Wharton masterclass. And I would, to quote the late, great Kevin Keegan, to misquote the late, great Kevin Keegan, I would love it if he started Jurgen Strand Larsen. And as I say, Eddie, I thought McNeil looked good. I thought Eddie showed real promise in that position. I know the second half was tougher, but that first half, if we finish our dinner, that is with.
No, we've got a lot of very, very good players, and I think unless there's an absolute collapse internally, which is not impossible, but I think that's the only thing that's going to get us into serious trouble, and then we haven't got and then we don't find the sort of psychological route to get out of it, a bit like what happened to Wolves or whatever. But we're a much, much better side than they are, or we're a much better side than any of the teams that have gone down in recent years. So I think there's always a chance, but I think it's very unlikely that we're going to hit serious trouble.
I think we've got so much experience playing in that similar formation. I know he likes his fullbacks a bit further up, but wing backs rather. I apologise. But I just, it's not like he's come in and right, we're going to play a 5-1-3, So I like the fact that we're playing a similar system. So that's in our favour. A lot of the guys have got experience playing with each other. That's in our favour. I'm well aware there's a fair bit of, there is a bit turmoil. That's not a reach to use that word. But I've got to be Johnny positive. Sarr comes back. This Galatasaray thing, please. Also, Ismaili, I'm sure you're listening. Mate, surely you're better off playing for Palace in the Premier League than playing for Galatasaray in Turkey. Oh, I mean, Mark said, we're missing out your gag at the time. Mark said,
well, I'm sure. How many other people must have made this gag? I'm not going to claim any originality with this.
Go on, Mark.
Unless he's desperate to get his teeth done. Can't we renegotiate a contract? All right, you can miss one game for your new teeth to bed in.
There must be a place in Norwood that can sort him out. Surely, come on. Me and Mark, we'll chip in. We'll pay for a couple of the Neshers. But yeah, so Mark and we were saying, and then it was if Ismaili, he's going to come back with a ponytail and a fringe. I mean, come on, surely we can do this in South London. Well, look, Mark, a pleasure and a privilege as always. We've managed to double the length of the podcast that what we were intending for, but we hope you enjoy it. As ever, please rate, review, subscribe, share, all that malarkey. Mark, great to see you again. A pleasure as always. Right, mate. Great fun. Cheers, buddy.
City. And Manana.
Speak soon, pal. Cheers, mate.